His Excellency Mohammed bin Salim Al-Tobi, Minister of Environment and Climate Affairs. Our reporter Saleh bin Khalfan Al-Rahbi was there and has this report.
The 8th of January every year is marked as Oman Environment Day to reflect the Sultanate's contributions to the international community's efforts to conserve the environment and preserve its natural resources. In celebration of this occasion, the Ministry of Environment and Climate Affairs, in collaboration with Petroleum Development Oman PDO, launched the national initiative to plant 10 million Omani wild trees.
This is a significant offset program. It's a start. It's a very large collaborative program. We're privileged by the support of the Ministry of Oil and Gas, the collaboration we've had with the Ministry of Environment and Climate Affairs, and many other partners. It will require big institutions to play a key role, and PDO will do that, but also individuals to increasingly play a role in their homes, in their farms, in their communities. So this is one offset program out of many that we have in play to make a significant contribution to make sure that Oman provides an NDC that is very material, and it's a great example of collaboration with multiple authorities.
Oman Environment Day this year has been given the theme Collaborative Community for Sustainable Environment to enhance partnership between the Ministry of Environment and Climate Affairs, the private sector, and all segments of the society to protect the environment and achieve sustainable development.
We're going actually to plant like 10 million native plants within 10 years. So this plant, we're going to, like in average, there will be around 1 million per year. For the time being, there are like 15 most abundant plants which are going to be started in these initiatives. It's like Samar and Cedar and Talah and so on. So we are starting with these 15 species, and later on we're going to extend these species. And the most important thing that we are going to stop to implant any plants that are coming from outside the country. So we are going to replace those invasive plants with the native Omani plants.
The national initiative to plant 10 million wild trees highlights the importance of conserving wild plants to combat desertification and create balance in the ecosystem due to the fact that these plants are an essential environmental component for various species of flora and fauna.
This great initiative also endeavors to spread the culture of preserving wild trees among the community to help in maintaining a healthy environment for generations to come. Saleh bin Khalfan Al-Rahbi, Sultanate of Oman Television, Muscat.
Thank you, Saleh. Meanwhile, on this occasion, the Minister of Environment and Climate Affairs organized an activity in the Wilayah of Ibri in the Governorate of Al-Dhahira aimed at promoting the environmental culture and implanting constructive values for a sustainable development march that the Sultanate witnessed in various development fields. The ceremony, which was held under the auspices of His Excellency Sheikh Saif bin Hamir Al-Malik Al-Shihi, Governor of Al-Dhahira, included a number of activities that highlighted the importance of preserving the environment and protecting its resources. The winter tourism season received unprecedented hotel booking rate at some 4- and 5-star hotels were fully booked for this season. This season's tourists from GCC and European countries have made hotel reservations to visit Oman, especially during the Christmas Eve and school breaks. Matrah Souq is currently receiving huge batch of tourists through Muscat International Airport or through large tourism ferries. Hotel reservation in the Governorate of Musandam reached 90% and Ras Al Jin's hotel booking reached 100%. In Nizwa, where many tourism sites can be found nearby, hotel reservations reached 98%. Oman has become a popular winter tourism destination for presidents, Hollywood and Bollywood stars who have chosen to spend their vacation in the Sultanate of Oman. A launching ceremony of national strategic directions and introduction of new vaccines was held under the auspices of His Excellency Dr. Ahmed bin Mohammed Al-Saidi, Minister of Health, with the presence of a number of their excellencies along with high-ranking officials from the ministry and other governmental and military authorities. More details is being described here. Today, the Sultanate of Oman has launched Oman Vaccine Action Plan 2019-2023. Today's launching marked the ministry's keen interest in exerting efforts in the elimination of communicable diseases. The national immunization program has been very successful, which is signified in attaining the world's highest rate in the effective vaccine management in 2016. Today, the national immunization schedules included 13 vaccines with more than 99% coverage rate of all the various vaccines doses. Major reduction in children's morbidity and mortality rates associated with communicable diseases, particularly infants and children under 5 years of age. It's worth mentioning that immunization is one of the safest and cost-effective public health interventions. Immunization is a key element in preventing childhood illness and has brought about a remarkable reduction in child morbidity and mortality in Oman over the past 3 decades. Improvement in the routine vaccination coverage, introduction of new life-saving vaccines along with sustained high-quality surveillance and immediate prevention and control measures. Oman has been successful in the interruption of endemic transmission and remarkable progress in many vaccine-preventable diseases. Indeed, Oman has been successful in interruption of some infectious diseases and vaccine-preventable diseases. With us in the studio is Dr. Mubarak bin Saeed Al-Yaqubi. Dr. Mubarak, welcome to the news bulletin here in our studio. And we would like you to brief us on this particular launching. What can you tell us more about it?
Well, today the launching of Oman Vaccine Action Plan, it's a very important plan for the country for the near future. It defines the goals, the targets, the indicators. It sets the priorities with regard to fighting infectious diseases in the country. And it is so important to sustain what has already been established and achieved in this field, as well as reducing the number of all other infections to the minimum. And I talk about infections that are for which a vaccine is available, a protective vaccine is available, preventable diseases. The action plan also, it's in line and it's in harmony with international goals as well as the regional, the World Health Organization. Our region is EMR, Eastern Mediterranean region, state members. It's in line with all, so regionally as well as internationally.
Now, can you tell us what was this achievement and how it was achieved, and how do we really do, or the Minister of Health is doing, to sustain this achievement?
The achievements have been great, really, with regard to eliminating some diseases, eradicating others, and reducing others to the minimum. The last case of poliomyelitis, for example, was in 1993. Last year, Oman also has been certified as a country free from endemic measles and rubella. It's 5 decades of hard work by the Ministry of Health. The strategies were to ensure high coverage vaccination. It's a very strong program that we have in the country. It's one of the best globally, if not the best, actually. And as well as having a very efficient surveillance system that is able to detect any imported case from other countries promptly. Action plan and preparedness for interventions is there in the country, and we have also an accredited laboratory that is able to diagnose viral and other diseases efficiently.
Right. Yeah. Are there any new vaccines at the moment now?
Yes. Next month there will be 2 new vaccines to be introduced. Hepatitis A vaccine, and it's going to be for those who are 13 months of age, so those who were born in January 2019. And the other vaccine is meningococcal vaccine. It's a meningitis preventive vaccine.
And what is required from the public now so that we can send the message to them?
Well,
what is
the role of the public is always very, very important. Individuals have to be aware and alert about the infections that continue to pose a risk to the community. They have to be educated about the hygienic practices and be aware about the availability of the vaccine, comply with the vaccination program for the children, because that is a protective measure for the children, for the family members, for the society, for everyone within our community. And also in case of traveling, for example, they need to inquire about the possibility of having a vaccine that is going to prevent illness in such Hajj and Umrah, for example, or touristic areas.
Dr. Mubarak, we really would like to thank you for this short interview here, but we also would like to commend the Minister of Health and the staff who are working there. And I remember this morning, His Excellency the Minister has commended the people who are working and who are working day and night actually to make sure that these vaccines are available and they are given to the public. And he also commended on the late Professor Abu Ali and also late Dr. Ali Jafar. May peace stay in Jannah, inshallah, both of them.
Inshallah.
Thank you very much. And with that, that was Dr. Mubarak bin Saeed Al Yaqoubi speaking to Oman Television. Still to come in our news bulletin. The sand dunes in Sharqiya Governorate is a stunning destination for tourists during the winter season. Welcome back to the news from the Sultanate of Oman Television. Reviewing historical relations march binding the Sultanate and Egypt and means of enhancing them in various fields, which serves interest of both nations, topped the discussions of His Excellency Sheikh Nasser bin Hilal Al Maoli, Chairman of State Administrative and Financial Audit Institutions, with His Excellency Dr. Saleh Abdul Rahman, Chairman of the Central Agency for Organization and Administration of Egypt. During the meeting, a visual show was presented on the specializations and goals of the Institute. The meeting as well discussed aspects of joint cooperation between the two countries. Chairman, Central Agency for Organization and Administration of Egypt. The second International Bioethics Conference is due to be held in the Sultanate of Oman. The Omani National Bioethics Committee is organizing its second International Bioethics Conference in cooperation with Sultan Qaboos University and UNESCO. The conference will be held in February 2020 at Sultan Qaboos University. As said, the conference is different from other conferences held in the Sultanate. The conference intends to come up with legislation, regulations, and guidelines on a number of issues that have direct bearing in saving the lives of people living in Oman. Over 2,100 patients in the waiting list for kidney transplantation because of the end-stage renal disease. In addition to this number, there are 200 to 300 new cases every year. The conference will address this issue and come up with necessary legislation for organ transplantation from both living and deceased in order to save the lives of these suffering patients who are in desperate needs for organ transplantation. To learn more on that, we have with us right here in the studio Mr. Ahmed bin Sumait Khitami Al-Badawi, Vice Chairperson of Intergovernmental Bioethics Committee, Sultan Qaboos University. Welcome to the studio here. What would you like to tell us more about this upcoming conference which is going to be held? And I believe it's a very, very important conference.
Yeah, as you have said it, this conference is totally different from any conferences in the country, in a sense that National Bioethics Committee is advisory body to the government, whereby from this conference we are coming up with guidelines and legislation regarding vital issues which touches the community directly. As you have mentioned, we have a serious cases of about organ transplantation, kidney, as per se 2,100 cases, and it's costing a lot of money to the government. And also we are going to discuss about inherited blood disorders and how to combat it. And more specifically, the icon of the issue is about definition of death, which by patients who are terminally ill, sometimes they are occupying the bed and they are almost dead, but we don't have fatwa by itself does not stand. So we have to have a guideline of laws to govern and to safeguard the doctors. This is so. In this case, we have to bring eminent scholars, and they are exactly 34 papers from eminent scholars, locally and internationally. Internationally, we have handpicked the most eminent bioethicists will be here, total 17, and to discuss these issues and come up with legislation, which we are going to forward it to the government to be the law of the country.
Okay. Now, does this mean this particular conference, you will be able actually to come with the fatwa there and also rules and regulations, legislation in particular?
Not fatwa. No. Fatwa is from another dimension. We hope to come up with guidelines and guidelines and legislation, which we are going to forward it to the cabinet, Majlis Wazara, to be the law of the country.
Okay, right. Now, what is the achievement so far?
National Bioethics Committee, from the day one, under the guardian of Vice Chancellor Dr. Ali Bimani, he has been very, very active in this issue, and we have achieved a lot from 2009 forward. And among the issues which concerns the community is do not resuscitate policy, which is almost now any time will be out. We have finished it. It's now a law. It's going to be a law in the country about DNR. Now we have it took us 4 years to work around abortion, whereby Marsum is out, Article 36 regarding the abortion, which is something, it's a great achievement to the government. We also had guidelines against stem cells and stem cell research and traditional medicine.
Indeed, we can see the difference of this particular conference, the nature of it. But can you also highlight more the difference of this particular conference, actually?
The conference, number one, the quality of the papers, the people themselves. We have got eminent scholars. When we talk about bioethics, then we think about Professor Abdullah Dar, we think about bin Ammar, who was a former Minister of Health. We are talking about Daphna representing UNESCO. We have got Abdullah Judi, Dr. Muhammad Ali Al-Bar, Omar Kasole, Harvard graduate.
These are scholars.
These are names by themselves.
Right.
When you hear about them, then you'll have the motivation to attend the conference, because these are eminent scholars in bioethics.
Bioethicists, we would like to thank you very much for this short interview, and we wish you all the best with the upcoming conference, and we'll make sure that to be there with you and cover all, because it is indeed very, very important.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Of course, that was Mr. Ahmed bin Sumait Khitami Al-Badawi, Vice Chairperson of Intergovernmental Bioethics Committee, Sultan Qaboos University, speaking to us here at the studio of the Sultanate of Oman Television. Sultan Qaboos University, represented by the Science College, organized the 5th International Conference on the Numerical Analysis and Optimal Solutions. The 4-day conference seeks to gather experts from various countries to present shows on new and advanced applications in the field of engineering, science, and medicine. The conference also discussed the mechanism of communicating innovative ideas and knowledge related to new scientific methodologies and enhancing scientific exchange, in addition to discuss possibilities of more cooperation and communication and encourage to exchange researchers. The Sultanate's total electricity production until the end of October 2019 reached 33,000 gigawatt per hour. According to the statistics released by the National Center for Statistics and Information, the total electricity production in the governorates of North and South Al-Batina and Al-Zahira rose by 19%, whereas the governorates of North and South Al-Sharqiyya posted a 6.1% fall. On the other hand, the water production of the Sultanate until the end of September 2019 reached more than 333 million cubic meters, an increase of 6.2% compared to end of September 2018. The decision to announce Sharqiyya's Science and Tourism site has contributed in attracting more tourists to Oman during the winter season from September to March. The decision from Ministry of Tourism has placed regulations on establishing temporary camping facilities and organizing tourism events. The rules include setting up camps 2 kilometers away from residential areas and camel feeding and living areas and half kilometers away from water and electricity lines. To give campers some privacy, any camp must set up 2 meters away from another camp within the designated camping areas. The new rules prohibits digging or making any fixed installation to minimize damage to environment. Desert car competitions are restricted to specific areas after obtaining the necessary permits and within designated hours from 1 to 7 p.m. What a beautiful Oman there. This is the Sultanate of Oman television. Before we end tonight's bulletin, here are the main points once again. Ministry for Environment and Climate Affairs launches an initiative to plant 10 million wild trees in various governorates of the Sultanate. The hotel rooms occupancy rate during winter season in the Sultanate reached almost 100%. And the Minister of Health launches Oman Vaccine Action Plan and the National Measles and Rubella Strategy. And with that, we do conclude this news bulletin brought to you live from this news center of the Sultanate of Oman television. From the entire news team and myself, we thank you for joining us, wish you a pleasant evening and good night.